coming. It's coming.
It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming.
Yay! All right.
Yay.
We're live.
Yeah.
Say hi.
Hi.
All right. What story are we reading?
Tomorrow's story, is it?
No, tomorrow's story is about something different. You're right. But who's going to come in today's story? Do you know?
Jesus.
No, who's going to come see Jesus?
Wise men.
Wise men. Yeah. We're going to talk about how Jesus is the King of Kings. Do you know what that means?
Mm-mm.
That means that he is the highest king of all. Have there been a lot of kings throughout history? Yeah. Yes. The answer to that is yes. There's been a lot of kings throughout history, but Jesus is the king above any other king. No human king could even begin to compare to Jesus. So he's the King of Kings. And that is the title of our story today, the King of all Kings. And this story comes from Matthew chapter 2. So let's start reading and see what happens. Far away in the east, 3 clever men saw the very same star, the star that God had put in the sky when Jesus was born. They knew it was a sign. A baby king had been born. They had been waiting for this star. They knew it would come. "He's here!" they shouted. "He's here!" And I'm sure if you'd been there, you would have heard them laughing and dancing and singing until the sun came up. At dawn, they packed up their camels and wrapped gifts for the baby. They brought their most precious treasures of all, frankincense, gold, and myrrh. Special, sparkly, lovely smelling, gleaming things, just right for a king. The 3 wise men, actually, if you'd met them, you'd have thought they were kings because they were so rich and clever and important looking, set off. They rode their camels across endless deserts, up steep, steep mountains, down into deep, deep valleys, through raging rivers, over grassy plains, night and day and night, for hours that turned into days, that turned into weeks, that turned into months and months, until at last they reached Jerusalem. Jerusalem was by far the most important city for miles around, as anyone can tell you, that's where a palace would be, and kings are born in palaces. So that's where they went. But they were in for a surprise. They went to see King Herod. Surely he'd know where this baby was. But he didn't. In fact, he didn't like the sound of a new king. It made him cross. He didn't want anyone to be king except him. But Herod's advisors told the 3 wise men what was written in their books, what God had said about the baby king. "Go to Bethlehem. That's where you'll find him." Suddenly, the star they had seen in the east started moving again, showing them the way. So the 3 wise men followed the star out of the big city along the road into the little town of Bethlehem. They followed the star through the streets of Bethlehem, out of the nice part of town, through the not so nice part of town, into the really not nice at all part of town, down a little dirt track, until it stopped right over a little house. But wait, it wasn't a palace, and there weren't any guards, or servants, or flags, or red carpets, or trumpets, or anything. Did they get it wrong? Or was this what God had meant? Sure enough, in that little house, there sitting on his mother's knee, they found him, the baby king. The 3 men knelt before the little king. They took off their rich royal turbans and gleaming golden crowns. They bowed their noble heads to the ground and gave him their sparkling treasures. The journey that had begun so many centuries before had led 3 wise men here, to a little town, to a little house, to a little child, to the king God had promised David all those years before. But this child was a new kind of king. Though he was the Prince of Heaven, he had become poor. Though he was the mighty God, he had become a helpless baby. This king hadn't come to be the boss. He had come to be a servant. And of course, we know, because we're celebrating this weekend, just what that servant did for us, don't we, Lillian? What did Jesus do for us? He helped us. What did he help us with?
I don't know.
Did he die on the cross? Do you know why? To save us from our sins. He became a servant by helping us. You're right. And that's just what the story's trying to tell us. And I think in might be a couple days before we get to the story about Jesus dying on the cross. But I'm excited for when we get there.
I'm not.
Why?
Because I never read that story.
Oh, because you've never read. Well, then it'll be all brand new, won't it?
I'm never going to read that story.
Because it's sad. But you know what? And today, actually, it is the sad day because it's the day that Jesus spent in the tomb. But you know what tomorrow is? What's tomorrow?
Easter.
And what happened on Easter morning?
He came back to life.
Right. So sometimes we have to read the sad part of the story because we know in the end that it's really going to be happy, don't we? Mm-hmm. So today is kind of the sad part. Yesterday was the really sad part, and today's sad too. But tomorrow we get to celebrate and be happy because he is risen. And that's awesome, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So from our family to yours, we wish you a wonderful Easter, a happy Easter. And we will be taking a break from doing our daily videos tomorrow and probably Monday as well. But we will be back on Tuesday. So we hope you have a wonderful Easter. We hope you'll join us on tomorrow's live stream. And we're glad that we're able to connect with you in that way. And we just pray that this would be a really special time for you to connect with your family on this special Easter weekend. So thanks for watching. We love you. We miss you. And we'll see you on Tuesday.
Mooch.
Bye.
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 I said mute.
Mooch. I don't know what that means.
It means